That's the president that Nigeria never had. In fact, using the word of IBB, he described that election as near perfect. But then he said he did what he did in national interest. And, you know, he tried to say some persons were responsible. The name of Sani Abacha, late Sani Abacha, General Sani Abacha was mentioned, and say, and few other persons, and for the best interest of the nation, he had to just do that. But then he takes responsibility because everything happened under his watch, and Nigerians have been so much divided on the matter. Some saying he has done well, some are saying maybe too little, too late. Some are saying, why has it taken him 32 years to admit that guilt? And even at that, he's still trying to pass the buck by mentioning the name of somebody who is dead, who cannot really come up and speak for himself again. But we have with us an elder statesman, you know, in every sense and right. He's a chief, a high chief in Ibadan land, and of course a public affairs analyst, you know. Mokachi Boyega Adejuma joins us virtually this morning. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and it's good to be back again.
Yes, sir. IBB's book, Journey to Service, has been addressing so many things. Many persons have it, hard copy. I think there is a copy flying around in the electronic form as well. But we are talking about a part of it that addressed the annulment of that election and the admittance that talking about BB, he was wrong, and that MKO Abiola won that election. He is sorry. What do you make of that particular admittance by the Maradona himself?
I'm glad that I was part of that June 12 annulment reversal process. I was part of it in many ways. Maybe for the first time, I will even reveal that when the leaders of the Yoruba, Nadeko perhaps, met at the Premier Hotel in Ibadan, it was my old telephone, the Not 9 Knots of those days, that we used, that the leaders, Papa Adebanjo, Papa Adesanya, and the rest of them used to communicate with the late MKO Abiola, because I was opportune to have his number through my late brother, Babatunde Adejumo, who sadly did everything he could, including getting this bail for Abiola, which was not taken up. But again, he lost his life in this same struggle. So that will tell you that I too lost something in that election. But looking at what has just happened, even independent of my own personal feelings, the mood in the nation said it all. If you find 10 to 12 people talking about it, 8 to 10 will condemn outright the attempt at gaslighting Nigerians as taking the Nigerian people for fools. And I will explain why it is looking like the Maradona has struck again. I didn't give him the name, so I cannot be held responsible for calling him that. But he has played that same game again of deception, of duplicity. Now, here was a man, a military man, who was involved in many coups, who trumped the attempt of many coups, who ordered the killing of his best man and best friend, Vatsa. But then he's telling us he was afraid of Abacha. He was afraid of David Mark and the rest of them, and they forced him, or perhaps they even went ahead and announced the annulment without his approval. I find out sickening. I find out insulting. For everybody that were alive to everything that happened around that time, the man postponed whatever he called his transition program 4 times. He banned and unbanned politicians 3 times. But I will remember, and that is why I'm so happy to have found a home in the philosophy and doctrines and practices of the late sage Obafemi Awolowo. He warned everybody that whatever this man, in spite of the fact that the man honored him, he wrote him a particularly enthusiastic letter describing Awolowo as the very person, the entity upon which it's either you are for him or you are not for him in this country, making Awolowo to be that focus of everyone. But Awolowo was not taken to such ideas of having to praise anyone, let alone himself. All he wanted to do was to tell Nigerians about what he has seen regarding the persona of the man Babangida. And he warned all of us and said, I don't think you guys will see democracy. And that he does not trust what Babangida has put forward. And then, of course, we started having all manners of 5 fingers of the leprous hand and the rest. So this man that designed all of that to suit himself, now he's talking about where he did the best for the country. This is a man that sanctioned in Zeribe to go and establish this Association for Better Nigeria. Oh, was that in the best interest of Nigerians too? So what did he do that was in the best interest of Nigeria? Nothing. So what does it come to do 32 years later? To gaslight us. Let me explain what I mean by gaslighting.
Right.
When you find a husband that is in every shade bad, it's a philandering man, is a very crooked man, is a very abusive man, but he's trying to tell the wife, you are the reason why I have become abusive. You are the reason why I have turned out to be a bad person. And it's almost going to make the wife to begin to believe within herself that she's the problem and not the man. That is a narcissist. That is gaslighting. That is what IBB has come to do. Rather than for a man to be seeking peace with his God. Abiola was his friend. And he watched Abiola being arrested, being put in the Black Maria, being taken away. This is the man you are now telling us won the election. Meanwhile, this same man did a broadcast telling us that the election seemingly looked as if it was free and fair, but it was flawed all over. 32 years later, you are telling us it was the freest election, and you want to claim credit for that. This is a man that did not hesitate to arraign Professor Tam David West in court and charge him for corruption for taking a cup of tea and accepting a gift of a wristwatch. But then on that same day, we found people who are saying, oh, he made me. Oh, I'm giving him 500 million. Oh, he called about 8 of us and said, take oil fields free of charge. We only had to drop 1 million. And Nigerians are there clapping. And I'm asking, what are they clapping for? So why would I come on your program?
Yes.
At my age, with everything that I've seen and how I see best practices done all over the world, and be part of that few that will say something good happened the day that book was launched.
Right.
Actually, it was a tragedy. It should go down as one of the saddest days in the history of this nation.
Right.
Okay. You said he should be making peace with his Lord, and at the same time,
can we please have your voice come up a bit louder,
okay.
please?
Can you hear me better now, sir?
Yes, it's okay. Getting better.
You said he should be making peace with his Lord. Don't you see this admittance as a form of peace that he's making with his Lord? Because as we all know, IBB is very elderly right now, and somehow he's trying to do this to make peace with his Lord. Isn't it a way of Nigerians to have some form of closure, especially those that lost people during that time?
You come to equity with an open heart. If you want to come to equity, you come to equity through the main door. You don't want to come in through the back door by lying your way through. He has lied his way through. There's no difference from the Maradona that dribbled everyone for 4 years of his transition, and the same man that everyone was trying to, in some kind of ways, accept as one who is remorseful. I didn't see the remorse. I didn't see that apology. He said he accepts responsibility. What responsibility has he accepted? Why still blaming the life of Abacha? Oh, you want to make peace with your God? I'll tell you how to make peace. That was the King David. And I wouldn't know where we have all of these clerics. They are part of the problem, but then maybe there is going to be one of them that can stand up. I haven't seen that cleric in this country that can stand up. But I'd like to see a cleric like Prophet Nathan. After King David had done what he wanted to do with Uriah, just to take his wife, Bathsheba. So Nathan went to him and said, "You've done something bad in the sight of the Lord." And what did David do? He tore his clothes, poured ashes on his head, refused to eat, and for 7 days was crying unto the Lord. That is the way to make peace with God. You don't come to me to tell me, "Oh, sorry for your loss," and then you add a "but." You are part of the problem. There was no sector he didn't blame. In fact, I've taken my time to read part of that book. It got to a level that it became so sickening I had to force myself to continue reading, because all he was just trying to do was shift responsibility as usual. What has he said on your radio program? I think it was May last year. I was called to speak on the coup of the January 15th coup on your radio program. And I want your radio station to please air that program again. There was nothing I didn't say on that program. There was nothing about that coup that I didn't talk about on that program. So there's nothing new in what he has said about that coup that I have not said. That is one. Two, I even gave more details. The names of the Yoruba, the 3 prominent Yoruba men who were part of that coup, I gave it. In fact, from the responses, somebody said, "Oh, it was still an Igbo coup." And I was laughing. An Igbo coup. And who stopped it in the north? Ojukwu. His younger brother, Tombiga, was part of that coup. But he was the one who stopped that coup. Who stopped it in the south? Johnson, Thomas, Umunakwe, Agui Ronse. Why should he stop it if it was an Igbo coup? Besides, what about the fact that they killed the Negbe? I said all of that in that radio program. So he has said it now. People are saying, "Oh, he's been making peace." What peace? What all of us have known, what all of us have talked about, which he never did. Now, if he's taking responsibility, then let him organize all of them that went on July 29 to kill 300 Igbo officers, knowing fully well now that it was not an Igbo coup. To now apologize to the Igbo nation, to apologize to the whole of Nigeria, that we made a mistake. It was on that premise of Igbo coup you went and did that killing spree that led to the civil war. So what peace is he making with God? In fact, if he has said yes, well, the only thing is that I would have expected the legal experts by now to be looking at the possibility of suing him and suing the federal government. If you are saying that you have accepted responsibility, then you should pay. There was Debo, I can't remember Debo's name, a Yoruba man. When they were a Yoruba officer in the military, when they were planning the Buhari coup against Shagari, he went and reported that I have been told about this coup. What did they do? They locked him up. A Yoruba officer. They locked him up. So when he heard about a coup again, he said, I have refused to talk because the first time they locked him up, Babangida still killed him. So
all right.
The idea is you don't come to equity through the back door. If you want to tell Nigerians that, look, I have sinned, forgive me, it's a totally different thing. At least there was an ambassador who brought a Okuta panel, and people were coming there to begin to say, I'm sorry, and people were beginning to forgive themselves. How do we forgive a man like Babangida? On what basis? For what he has done and written a book, and he has raked in 17 billion from that same book of inanities, of that same book of half-truths, of certain lies, and still trying to gaslight us.
Of half-truths, sir. Of half-truths, sir. Like Obasanjo said that is his own story, that is his truth, that's his story to tell. Probably that's his story to tell, but in the light of all you've said, is it that there's nothing good that can be pointed out during the time of IBB's reign as head of state of this country?
You see, the way we think in this country has to change. And I will explain that to you. We have a big problem. We have a serious problem. There is a built-in ambiguity into the Nigerian psyche. If for any reason you want to justify an action, we don't begin to say, oh, at a time this man did well. Situate everything in perspective. If you do crime, then you must do time. No, you don't go to the law court and the judge will say, oh, well, based on what you did in the past, then let's forgive you. They will judge you on the case that has been brought to court. On this case that we are trying Babangida upon, let us try him on it. If you say that, oh, is there something good that Babangida has done? Then I will ask you again, is that something good that the devil itself has done? So let's forgive the devil now. I mean, let's just go on and do the devil's bidding and say, oh, the devil too has tried at one time. So that we can forgive ourselves and let's just move on. But it's not done that way. Whoever has sinned must pay for his sin. A crime is a crime. Like I said, you do crime, you serve time. Okay, you want to look at what Babangida has done. I would say, well, what did he do about the economy? I'm interested in the economy of this country. And I would say Babangida actually bastardized our economy. Any way you want to look at it, he was the very first person to officially devalue our money. So, would you tell me that is good?
All right, sir.
I can tell you that a lot of young men lost their life, no less than that I know of. No less than about 100 humans lost their life through June 12.
All right.
So, okay, how am I going to begin to look at what he did in the past and look at the lives that were lost? Look at the way they killed Babari Wane in the time of Abacha. It is still part of the decisions that Babangida took. And let me tell you something about decision making. Decision making is not about, oh, I've taken a decision for today. And that is where Babangida got it wrong. And he said he did it for Nigeria. No. How do you make sure that a decision is the right thing? It is about the fact that it has to be prescient. Prescient means that in the future, you look back at that decision and say it was the best decision taken for the country. We lost a lot of grants. We lost a lot of face through June 12. We lost a lot of friends. We lost a lot of investments. We lost a lot of human capital development. All the losses we suffered through June 12 are still with us till today. So if you want to look at how prescient his decisions were, he took us back.
All right.
You can't tell me any positive thing that came out of June 12. It is a regression. In fact, it's a regression of more than 100 years. But we were moving. And the same kind of regression we had in 2015 when we brought the likes of Buhari is what happened in 1994. Nigeria will have grown beyond all of this if that election, which is deemed free and fair. And let me tell you something. If Nigerians could do a free and fair election in 1993, how come we can't do it now? How much was the electoral body being given in 1993? 80% of what INEC is being given today is to make sure that we have a better election through technology, which they don't deploy, but they collect money from. This year or so, or next year, they will give them money again. And you go and check the budget of INEC. You will see stupendous amount of money being given to those who would transmit it. Meanwhile, technology has grown. We go to the bank in just seconds. We get money out. We want to do tax. The same thing is done in seconds. You want to do your car papers, it's done in minutes. And all of these things are digitalized. We have all of these mechanisms to go online and vote, but they won't do it.
All right.
And go back to 1993. That election, how did we do it that it was free and fair? Why can't we even build on it? But the likes of Babangida have made it difficult for such an election to happen again because it was the free and the fairest, simply because it was annulled. So somebody wants to tell me this something right, and I should begin to look at it and
all right. If I may comment, sir. All right, sir. You know, two questions from me. First is what happened in that room in Abuja on that day, and you spoke passively about it. The mood. In fact, many Nigerians had issues with that place. That part of what was done, the review was done by Professor Yemi Oshibajo. You know, in doing his job, banters here and there and all of those things. Some say that is the right thing to do. You know, the whole place doesn't have to be gloomy. But some said the excerpt that even IBB took himself, you know, supposed to be a sober reflection. And instead of the whole thing turning like a house of comedy and all of those things, even while some persons who have been affected, you talked about, you know, persons who are close to you, who are affected by it. But then, Magaji, please hold on there, sir. I'd like you and our viewers, you know, to just have a glimpse of what happened. We'll start with the admittance by IBB himself. Hang in there, sir.
About Nigeria. Credible, free and fair elections were held on June 12, 1993. However, the tragic irony of history remains that the administration that devised a near-perfect electoral system and conducted those near-perfect elections could not complete the process. That accident of history is most regrettable. The nation is entitled to expect my impression of regret. As the leader of the military administration, I accept full responsibility for all decisions taken under my watch. And June 12 happened under my watch. Mistakes, oversights, and missteps happen in quick succession. But I say in my book, in all matters we acted in the supreme national interest so that Nigeria could survive. It's more because of the innumerable controversies.
All right, and you know, at every line of that speech, it was being applauded. You know, to say, oh, I admit it was applauded. That thing happened under his watch. It was applauded. Oh, he takes responsibility. It was applauded. Some Nigerians are having issues with that, to say there is nothing demanding of an apology. That was somebody who did a wrong, but has come out to admit what he did, and it has taken 32 years. That was wrong. But there are some other persons who feel even 32 years after the line, he's trying to make things rightly. You have said he didn't do it the right way, but the mood in that house that day, many persons came up, you know, orations and all of those things, accolades thrown at him due to what he represented to those of them in the banking industry, in the oil sector, and all of those things. The event of that, you know, the mood of that event that day, what's your take on it? Everything I've mentioned and even more.
You know, I was talking about the inbuilt ambiguity into Nigeria. The Nigeria we have today is a gang up of the ruling elite against the rest of us. What you have seen is the typical, I think, Genesis 23 matter of two children in the womb, and the carrier was like, oh, let me go and inquire of the Lord, and what is happening to me? And he said, oh, two children, two nations are in your womb. One will be the slave master, the other will be the slave. One will be stronger, and the rest of it. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm told that, oh, that is what is going to happen, the best thing is to abort that pregnancy. And that is why some of us are hell-bent on making sure that we go back to regionalism. It is only because we have this monolithic unitary system that we have these this ambivalence, this ambiguity of two children in the same womb. What we have is just the ruling elite versus the rest of us. Let's go back to regionalism so that there will not be this monolithic central government that somebody would insult my intelligence by telling me, oh, the man made me. Why should he make you? So if he made you a billionaire, how many billionaires are going to equate to 200 million Nigerians? Okay, at the most, he made 10 people, he made 15 people, he made 20 people. Out of 200, and then we have suffering masses. The present statistics shows that 133 million Nigerians are living below poverty level. We are now the poverty capital of the world. And you have some clowns, some pathetic, sickening entities who put themselves together in one room to be clapping for somebody who should be doing time in jail and saying, oh, he made me. That is an insult upon humanity. If 133 million Nigerians are in abject poverty and Nigeria is a poverty capital of the world, is that what should be coming out from the mouth of someone 32 years after he destroyed the fabric of this nation? So we must go back to each region tending to its own. Let us see whether such a thing will subsist in Yoruba land, whether we have the mechanisms of checks and balances to make sure that nobody does that. Look, there was an Awolowo who went with Akinloye. I'm trying to remember all that went with him. I'm not sure if Professor Awo. I'm trying to remember what. Let's just say he went with some of his ministers, and they went to Canada, and they had a plate of pepper soup. The Awolowo was not there, and they didn't have the money to pay, and they were all afraid. And they went to Papa Awolowo. After chastising them, he said, okay, take from the coffers of the government of Western region, pay for the pepper soup, but all of you are going to refund it when you get to Nigeria. That was just a plate of pepper soup. That was leadership in the South, in the West. So look at how somebody now sits down, either in Abuja or somewhere as the president, and some people will come and say, oh God, please, and he said, okay, go and take one oil well. Oh yeah, like I read somewhere where somebody confessed and said he told Abacha, I'm broke. He said, okay, go and meet so. Let him give you 5 million, our money.
Okay.
So we have to demolish this ambiguity. Let's go back. If you want to run your own region that way, go ahead and run it. We Yorubas are born with dignity. We will know how to put everything right. We know how to tell our Obas to Shiba if they did something wrong. We can't continue to run a nation like this, like the way you found some people clapping. And then I saw somebody from Igbo land with everything some of us are trying to even say is not balanced, and he donated 500 million. Now, there is a Dangote that said, well, for every year, the presidential library. Who is reading anything? There's Shopolu Library in Ikene that I visit all the time.
Magaji, if I may, sir, people have a right to how they spend their money, don't they?
What money? Is it their money? The money you acquired illegally, the money you acquired fraudulently. Now, we are talking about right. What about the moral burden that it places on all of us, that we don't even have a standard? We may have a standard refinery. If I have the best in Africa, is it a matter of right? But it is a matter of a moral burden. If we don't have an hospital that can even take care of the common ailments that even some of us who have to go to places like Abidjan. I know somebody who has just gone to Abidjan now for medical treatment. So why can't you put 2 billion in an hospital and say, okay, until that hospital becomes, we are still going to make your money. It is not as if we are saying give it to us gratis, but you want to give that money to Babangida. It's either that something is wrong with him or something is wrong with all of us. But certainly something is wrong somewhere.
All right, in fairness to somebody like Dangote, Mr. Samad of Bua, they have always been involved in, philanthropy, in education, in health, in all of those things. Interventions, interventions before. They played a very critical role during COVID. They were part of the COVID team and all of those things. I'm just saying that even while they have given that money at that event, they've donated to other philanthropic causes. Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, I'm butting in. Are you done so that I can talk?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, 1/4 of Niger State, as I'm talking to you, is under siege by terrorists. 1/4. 1/4. Niger State has perhaps the largest expanse of land in Nigeria. It's about 70,000 square kilometers. My Oyo is just about 30,000 square kilometers. So you can imagine how big Niger State is. So you put 2 of Oyo State there, but 1/4 of it, which can be more than the state, more than the state of Osun, your own, is under the siege of terrorists. So who is going to Niger? Who is going to Mina to go and say, I want to conduct something?
All right, sir. Let me quickly butt in here, sir. The children
in the presidential library in Mina.
Yes,
that you are putting 2 billion every year.
The children of MKO Abiola, at least 2 of them, Hafsat Costello, Hafsat Abiola, the daughter of the late MKO, reacted on the matter, and she said, for those that kept expressing doubt that Nigerians had spoken so decisively on that day, I am glad that General IBB's admission that MKO won the election can now lay the matter to rest. A son of MKO again, Mumin Abiola, spoke on the matter and said even though he was 8 at that time, he had never doubted in his mind that his father won that election. And now that IBB is saying that, maybe, the doubting Thomases can now know that, yes, it was real. It seems the children are now having problem with these. And one would say, how about the rest of Nigerians? Maybe we are just...
Why would you jump to that conclusion? Yesterday at Papa Debanjo's house...
Maybe we are just meddlesome interlopers.
Papa Debanjo died. Lola Abiola, the very first daughter, I've been meeting her there every day since Papa Debanjo died. I've been meeting Lola Abiola. I've been meeting her there. Have you asked her? I spoke with her yesterday, like I've been doing ever since I've been going there. So have you sought to know what she feels? The family is in disarray. Kola is my brother, not just friends. So they may say all of that. Perhaps the whole idea is to forget all this trauma, not because they don't have something to say, but they've been saying it. Now, I will even consider what in what capacity now is Babangida talking that we will say it has been laid to rest. The person that will probably say has more in terms of authority, capacity to lay to rest was Buhari, who actually declared Abiola a president and gave him the highest honor you give to president. So on that, all of that has been settled. Whatever Babangida is trying to do now is not only belated, it is insulting.
All right.
Okay. The same Abiola you condemned, you got all the Yorubas Obas together to start even telling them. And please, what I'm saying today, there are still some Obas that are alive that went to that meeting. Alaafin, the late Alaafin Atonda, Olayiwola, Alowolodubi was there, who opposed him. The late Oni Shinjuade was there. Awudale and Alaafin on one side. What Babangida was doing to those Obas was gaslighting them, was even telling them, oh, these are the reasons why Abiola cannot be president. He didn't say Abiola won. He was trying to even gaslight our Obas into believing this is the reason why we can't make Abiola president. Today he's saying Abiola won and if he regrets and he's accessed.
Let me quickly.
Why was he trying to deceive everyone, including our Obas then?
So let me quickly ask you this, sir. Yes, sir. Now, there was a reason IBB, apart from his name being Ibrahim Babangida, was given a characterization. It was nicknamed the Maradona, and we knew who Maradona was, an Argentine talisman who can dribble the entire field. And because of that antics, Babangida was nicknamed that Maradona because he keeps postponing and deceiving the country at the time. Some people even called him the evil genius. Again, now, those two nicknames, evil genius and Maradona, do you think that is what is still at play now in what he has written in his book, or is just speaking his truth as it is?
From his own mouth and is from his own hands, supposedly he has now bequeathed to posterity, the true definition of the evil genius and the fact that he has earned that sobriquet of Maradona. It has now become stamped. Now, my fear about this generation is that when the history of this generation is going to be told, history is never going to be kind to this present generation. In fact, history will be kinder to perhaps the generation of the 70s. And you will find a Buhari who claimed that the election of the 3 was bad and that's why he came in. But I would say history will be kinder to that generation than to this one. Because this one has condoned all the evils in the world, and we have turned, in fact, it is now a crime to speak the truth in this generation. This generation is wallowing in so much of evil tactics, alternative truths. People will justify anything in this generation just because they want to make money or because they want to simply look forward to becoming an appointment hopeful. They will jettison the truth. People are ready, and they are already doing it. Killing brothers, sisters, killing girlfriends. And where is the truth? The truth is the greatest tragedy out of the whole thing. It has suffered so much. It is what has become the greatest beneficiary are lies, subterfuge, evil, everything that is wrong with this generation. We may not be there to see, but when people say 50, 60 years look back, they will marvel. Have human beings evolved?
All right.
Or that would have become so base that even it would have been better if we were being in that state of being dogs on animals that wouldn't need to think so much.
All right.
The truth will just have been enough for them. I'm so ashamed of this generation.
Yeah.
For controlling everything. For making the truth a casualty. Why can't we just tell the truth to ourselves? There was somebody who tried to change the system in the UK. Even when he died, they took his body to the courts and tried him for treason, for trying to upset or usurp authority. And they sentenced him to jail again, Oliver Cromwell. They took that body, they took the bones. They tried the bones for treason. Many that are alive should be tried for treason. And even when some of them have died, they should exhume their bones so that there can be a pointer to how not to treat humanity. So that when people of the next generation, they look back and say, this is what happened. Right. Just like it happened at the time of Bashorunga. When it was Barikuga, oh, when it was Balaya, if you are brave, low shika. If you are brave, go and do something bad, something evil. But when you see the manner to which God was put to death, you will tell the truth, so that it will be a deterrent to people, so that we will never have the likes of Guy again, and we never had the likes of Guy again.
Exactly, Makaji. You know, very instructive that you have mentioned the Bashorun Guy story, and you have mentioned the issue of generations passing down or bequeathing what is right to this current generation, the generations coming after. I dare say at that center table that day, there are many tables there, but at the foremost table where IBB sat, they were full of elders like yourself. In fact, the youngest on that table that day, I think was Goodluck Jonathan. He was the youngest because he had Yakubu Gowon, the author, IBB, Olusegun Obasanjo was there, President Tinubu was there on the day in his 70s. I think Goodluck Jonathan was the youngest on that table. And even while all those things was going on, Yemi Osinbajo is in his 60s as well, there was nobody that rose up to challenge any of the things that were said, or after, even if they wanted to give him that honor, has really come out to say anything that would challenge what you have spoken about. And that gives credence to what many persons are saying, that maybe this generation of yours has failed this current generation of ours, that even in the face of lies or allegations of lies and somebody trying to rewrite history, the guys that are political leaders who have been there for long have kept quiet, or possibly even, you know, blended in with whatever we are being fed right now. What do you say that is your generation that is failing this current one and has failed at all?
What I would say is this. Some of us did the right things. Some of us stuck to the right things from the days of Akabashorun, from the days of Apawolowo, from the days of Apajasin. Let me even tell you a little story about this, our generation. When Abacha, the maximum ruler and the rest of them, when he wanted to even extend his power over the dead, Baba Ajasin had passed on, and Canon Bonigi, he was part of us in the movement, and he was to be the one to preach. They said he should submit his sermon to Abacha. He said he would never do it. They laid a siege around his house. It was Bishop Adetiloye who broke the truce and said, "Don't worry, I will come and do the sermon." But the sermon Adetiloye gave, believe me, up till today, I wake up and I marvel. What he said was simple. Teach us how to number our days, so that we can put our paths into the path of glory and to be subservient to God. He was talking to Abacha. Teach us how to number our days. How many days did it take later that Abacha died? If Abacha had only listened, he was thinking he was going to come down and rain curses. God does not work in that way some of the time. So what Adetiloye said should have been adhered to by everyone. So some of us have learned how to listen to certain doctrines. So some of us who follow Awolowo, None of us who do a ferry, none of us who put all our hopes in wanting to change the society. What names have they not called me when I refused to go with Bola Ahmed Tinubu? I was called a later, I was called all manners of things. Has that stopped me? But Babade Manjo, who said, you vote for that man, you are going to be in trouble, but I'm going to be in my own grave, smiling. Has he not gone to his grave? Everybody that said, oh, the man is an later, he didn't do yesterday, all of them came. Miko came, spoke well, Fayemi came, all of them spoke glowingly. But then Ohaneze, they have come. Pandev, they have come. Even on Friday, the Senate president came. Everybody is coming to praise the man for saying he was courageous, he's the best of all of us. The way they are describing him, and I'm laughing. They know the truth. But they won't follow it because his path does not lead to money. But where is the money? Somebody was accusing Abakari of having to have cornered some money in hundreds of millions of dollars. Where is Abakari today? So he's dead, he's gone. Where is the money? That is what people don't know. So I will say that part of the problem will come from my own generation. Again, if we want the future generation to learn from us, what are we teaching them? So that is why some of us will continue to do what we are doing. Right. Look at the video that is going around with Papa Debanjo and his daughter. He was smiling and talking about his exit. Saying, oh, they are very, very leader. The controversial man is gone. He's gone now. We are now left to all this mess.
All right, sir. Okay.
So some of us too, who will do our bit and go, whether you like it or not, take it. At the end of the day, something will tell you at a particular point.
Right.
Okay. So you said
that something fundamental is wrong, and some of us who try to correct it, we were doing the very best we can.
Okay.
And that will be the judgment. But as at this moment, blame my generation, but like Papa Debanjo, I too I will go to my grave and I'll be smiling.
All right.
Okay, sir.
What else am I supposed to do?
So you said history will be fair to your generation more than ours. And you also talked about this generation not having a voice. We often hear the saying that says, what an elder sees sitting down, a young person cannot see it even if he climbs the highest Iroko tree. Now, but we have our leaders. Our leaders are still from the olden days, and they're still leading us. And we don't have a voice in this time. And it seemed like what they had during your time is not what they're serving us. And even as we're trying to speak out, we're being silenced. We can see through the numerous protests that have actually come out to happen during the NSAS protest, the bad governance protest, how it all ended with people who were being maimed and killed and all the rest. So how do we get out of this? How do we go forward from this? How do we actually save this particular generation and Nigeria at large?
Well, when Nigerians are fed up, they know what to do. When they are not fed up, somebody in the 70s actually said, oh, we are not started, no, it was in the 70s or 80s, we are not started eating out of the dustbins. But then we've gone beyond even eating out of the dustbins now. In my estate, somebody was caught. What was he doing? He was stealing security bulbs. How much was he going to sell them? He said, well, the first one set is sold. It was sold for 2,000 so that he could eat. And he used scraps and everything, and he was able to survive for 4 days. But then when he came back again. So if somebody is stealing bulbs just to be able to feed, and all he's getting is what, then there will come a time that even the filth bags, the dustbins will not yield anything. Maybe that time we'll start to eat ourselves. Maybe that time Nigerians will wake up. But until then, are they going to say they didn't hear us?
All right. We have to do that.
Let's also face it. Look at everything they did in 2015. Look at what has happened since that 2015. 10 years of them coming to condemn that man then. and their own 10 years. Look at how they bamboozled Nigerians. Look at how some of us did everything to bring about the national conference. It was Akaba Alabashon who started the cry for national conference in 1992. This was a man who organized the national conference for them in Benin Republic. No, hold on. A Nigerian went to organize the conference for them in Benin Republic. That was Alao Akabashon, but he couldn't do it in his own Nigeria. So some of us who went all the way to say, let's have it in 2014, we knew what we were doing. But Babangida, who said in 1999 that you cannot sustain this thing for 25 years. He knew what he was saying, but who listened to him? The man is going to rest. He's left you to your own trouble. You want to blame him? Go ahead. The problem is you.
All right.
I mean, there was a time I asked on your program, what do the Yorubas want? Restructuring or a Yoruba man to be president? It's a simple matter.
All right.
Now you have tried the Yoruba man. Do you still want restructuring or you want things to go this way? Politics is going to start next year, and then it will all be about, oh, the Northerners don't want Tinubu. Oh, yeah, let's Ghana around him. I wouldn't say don't Ghana around him, but is he ready to do restructuring? Is he ready to do the right thing? Is he ready to take us back to regionalism so that nobody can come from anywhere and come and tell me how we are going to use our own natural resources to develop ourselves? Nobody is coming from anywhere to come and impress upon me.
Thank you, sir.
How we're going to use our mineral resources in Oshi, in Ondo, and everywhere, except for our own.
Very well. You know, this is a good place to leave it this morning. Very salient questions you rounded off with right now, and which it will get many people thinking, what do we really and truly want? Ibadan Chief and Public Affairs Analyst Magaji Boyega Adejima, bearing his mind on the admittance of the victory of MKO Abiola in the 1993 elections. 32 years down the line, too little, too late. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you. And of course, that will be the first leg of this conversation. Quite a very, robust one. Actually, we'll take a quick break right now and switch gears. Stay with us.